All right, today we're diving into something big from OpenAI. And look, it's not just about a smarter AI model. It's about giving your team its very first AI coworker. This is something that could totally change the way businesses get work done. So let's jump in.
Okay, let's kick things off with a pretty staggering number, 75%. According to OpenAI, 75% of enterprise workers are already using AI to tackle tasks that were, well, basically impossible before. We're not just talking about being a little faster here. We're talking about unlocking whole new ways of working. The potential is just huge.
And that leads to the million-dollar question, right? If this potential is so obvious and the impact is so clear, why does it feel like most companies are still stuck on the starting line? What's the holdup?
Well, the answer comes down to what OpenAI is calling the AI opportunity gap. You can think of it like this giant growing canyon between what these amazing AI models can do and what businesses are actually able to get working in the real world.
So here's the absolute heart of the issue. The problem isn't the AI. The models themselves are incredibly smart. The real roadblock is integration. See, most companies are a tangled web of different systems that don't talk to each other. So when you try to drop a new AI agent into that mess, it's basically working in a silo, completely blind to the context it needs to be truly useful.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? I mean, look at that difference. Every time you add a new, isolated AI agent, you can actually make things more complicated, not less. It's kind of like hiring a genius, but then you lock them in an empty room with no internet, no files, no access to anyone on the team. Of course they can't do their best work.
And that is the exact problem OpenAI is setting out to fix with its new platform, Frontier. It's not just another tool. It's a full end-to-end system designed to bridge that gap by completely rethinking how we build, deploy, and manage these AI agents.
Now this is the core idea that changes everything. OpenAI is telling us to stop thinking about AI as a tool and start thinking of it as a new coworker. Just like any person you'd hire, an AI needs to be onboarded. It needs context, it needs a chance to learn from feedback, and it needs to have really clear rules. It's a mental shift, but it's the one that unlocks all the potential.
So how does Frontier actually pull this off? Well, it's all built around 4 key pillars, and you can really think of them as the 4 steps of a great employee onboarding program. This is the playbook for taking an AI from a cool demo to a truly reliable member of the team.
So here are the 4 steps. First, you give it context. Then, you give it the tools to actually do stuff. Third, you build in a way for it to learn and get better. And finally, you establish trust and set clear boundaries. Let's break each one down.
First up, business context. I mean, think about it. When a new person joins your team, they need to learn the ropes, right? Frontier does this by connecting all those separate systems, your CRM, your data, your apps, and pieces it all together. It's how the AI coworker learns the institutional knowledge of your entire company.
Okay, number 2, agent execution. So now your new AI coworker knows how the business works. The next step is to give it a desk and a computer. Frontier provides a secure workspace where the AI can actually get things done. It can run code, work with files, and use tools to think through problems, just like a person would.
Third, and this one is so critical, is evaluation and optimization. Let's be real, no new hire is perfect on day one. They get better with feedback. Frontier builds in these feedback loops so the AI can learn from what works and what doesn't. It starts to understand what a good job actually looks like, and it gets better and more reliable over time.
And finally, identity and permissions. You wouldn't give a brand new employee the keys to the entire building on their first day, right? Of course not. Frontier does the same thing, giving each AI agent its own unique identity with really clear permissions and guardrails. This is absolutely essential for building trust and making sure it's safe to use, especially in places with a lot of rules and sensitive data.
Okay, so that's the theory, the how it works part. But what does this actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's check out the real-world impact that this approach is already having for some huge companies.
Get a load of this. In one case study, engineers were spending, on average, almost 4 hours trying to find the cause of a single hardware failure. 4 hours! With an AI coworker on the job, trained through Frontier, that went from 4 hours down to just a few minutes. That saved thousands of engineering hours every single year.
And this isn't just a one-off thing. A big manufacturer took a process that used to take 6 weeks and got it done in a single day. A global investment company freed up 90% of their sales team's time so they could actually talk to customers. And an energy company increased their output by 5%, which, for them, works out to over $1 billion in new revenue. I mean, these numbers are just unbelievable.
And you don't have to just take my word for it. Here's what Joe Park over at State Farm had to say. He nails the key idea here. It's not about replacing people. It's about pairing this platform with their people to supercharge what they can do for their customers.
And look, State Farm is not alone here. This isn't some science fiction technology that's decades away. Frontier is already being used and tested by a who's who of global giants. We're talking tech, finance, transportation, you name it. This change is happening right now.
So what's the big picture here? What does all this add up to? Well, what we're looking at is a truly fundamental shift in how we work. This isn't just about some new software. It's about a completely new way to build teams and organize work.
You know, the big takeaway from all of this is that the debate is pretty much over. The question is no longer if AI is going to change how we all work.
The real question, the one every leader should be asking, is how quickly can your organization harness this power and turn it into a real, lasting competitive advantage? Because the gap between those who get it and those who don't is getting wider by the day.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought. If you could bring an AI coworker onto your team tomorrow, one that knows your business, has the tools it needs, and is ready to learn, what would be the very first job you would give it?